Sometimes we don't think about safety. We go about our day doing our daily things, and we're not always thinking about how falls affect us. Some of the facts that I got that are, if you are 65 years or older, 1 out of 3 people are going to have a fall. It sounds unbelievable, but if you can imagine a third of this room having a fall.
A lot of people like these. I like them because it has a seat on it in case you get tired. It has the basket underneath it, and it also folds. I do like it because you don't have to pick it up to turn. But then you have to be really careful because your balance has to be really good. Otherwise, it's going to take you for a walk instead of you taking it for a walk. Okay? So the other thing that I see is that a lot of people, like Jennifer, might use this walker. What do you guys think about the size of this walker for her? It's actually a good size for her. I think the handles are a little high for her. Everybody that I see uses their walkers way up here because they think they need more support. But when your arms are way up here, you're going to fall backwards. So if you stand up and you feel where your hand is, usually your hand is right near your hip. That's kind of where you normally swing your arms when you walk. And that's where I like to put the handles on a walker so that you're walking more normally instead of with your arms way up here. And you'll notice if you walk with your arms way up here, it's harder to breathe, it's harder to get your balance, it's harder on your arms and your shoulders, your neck might hurt. So I tend to lower a lot of walkers when I go to people's homes after they've had surgery or after they've fallen, and they just get one from the store and they say, oh, I think I'm just going to adjust it this way. A lot of other times I see people use the walkers and they'll just sit on it. But what's the problem with that, with sitting on it without locking your brakes? What could happen?
It could roll away.
It could roll away. It could get away from you. You could fall. It could tip over. And I see a lot of people rolling themselves on the walkers when they get tired. But they're not made to be rolled on, because if you hit a bump or a threshold, your walker's going to tip over and you're going to go with it. So the recommendation for these walkers, any kind of walker, is to use it forwards, always pushing it. And before you sit, it's always good to lock the brakes. So you push down on the handles in order to lock it before you sit. One of my other recommendations is I tend to tell people to maybe park it against something sturdy, so maybe against the wall or against a piece of furniture, and then lock the brakes. And then sit on it so that it doesn't skid. Because if you're on linoleum or some really nice carpet, sometimes the wheels can slide when you're trying to get up. And then before you stand up, you have to keep the walker locked. I see a lot of people do this. And then they stand up, and then the walker, and they all kind of go, one walker goes that way, and you go that way. So in order to prevent that, I try and tell people to keep it locked. Make sure you stand up using the armrest, turn all the way around, and then unlock it, and then off you go. I see a lot of people use the walker with the wheels longer than the back, so it's slanted, and then it wears out the back legs more, and then you're grinding the metal into your wood floor or into your carpet, or you're dragging a bunch of stuff into your house. So make sure your walker is level. You want the handles to be level. You don't really want it slanted. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Do you know how to fold these walkers? Okay, there's little buttons that say press on them. Yeah.
These blue buttons.
Okay, so those just fold, and those are easy to take with you. Sometimes you'll see people with tennis balls on the back of their walkers, but those kind of get grimy, they get muddy, they get wet, and they carry a lot of germs with them. So I know there's a walker out in the hallway that has walker skis, and they look like skis, and you attach them into the bottom of the walker leg, and then it helps you glide over the carpet, it helps you glide on the concrete, and then you don't get caught. And the front is kind of curved up so you don't get stuck on throw rugs when you're walking around. But hopefully you don't have any throw rugs, because that's a tripping hazard. I always look at the height of the person and then the height of the walker, because sometimes people that walk like way out here, their walker's too tall. And so the only way they can handle it is if it's way out here. So sometimes, like my mom is really short. If I had to get her a walker like this, I'd have to get her a junior walker or a pediatric walker and raise it so that her arm is more down here than up here, and then they tend to do this, right? So a walker's not going to help you if you're walking like this, right? This walker here, somebody put the wheels on the inside of the walker. And this is probably to make sure they can get through the doorways easier. So there's this version, but usually your walker comes like this, with the wheels on the outside. Okay, so if you have narrow doorways, they can be switched to be on the inside. Okay, and then the big wheels are easier to move than the little wheels. They don't get stuck in the cracks in the sidewalks as often.